Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another Sims info/thoughts video. So this one is all about some more questions that SimGuru Grant has answered over on Twitter, including the possibility of another city world, the idea of a Castaway remake, the idea of roommates, and more. So starting off on the cities question, when asked, have you guys considered adding more big city type worlds, even if it's not in the theme of a pack? I just hope this isn't the last we see of apartments. And Grant says, this is such a challenge. I'd love to make more, but we also have to create new features and content for you. The forever challenge. I definitely would love to see another city world with some apartments in it, but not at the cost of new features. It's always a balancing act, pretty much what Grant said. And yeah, I would maybe like to see a world where there's apartments in it, but it's not as urban as San Myshuno. Like, say, if we get a university campus with its own world dedicated to it, like we have with past games, then maybe they could put a few apartment buildings in there, like, I don't know, 2 of them, so that you do have some more apartments, but it's not so many resources to the point where it's like San Myshuno number 2. But everything does take time for them to develop, whether it's adding onto an old feature or making completely new stuff. So, I don't know. I wouldn't really expect new apartments until near the end of The Sims 4's life cycle, since they always do seem to be more focused on making new things and don't really have too many resources to add on to old stuff most of the time. Still on the topic of worlds, Hedda Lettuce 111 asks, hi, just wanted to ask, is there any chance of making Forgotten Hollow any bigger, as in having more space for houses and businesses? I'd love to have more vampires, and the space is limited. Thank you. And Grant says, we won't be changing Forgotten Hollow. And to be honest, this is the answer I would have expected had I asked this question myself, because they haven't really changed the existing worlds too much. Like, yeah, with Seasons, they place stuff in the public spaces, like those concession stands, but they haven't really done things like adding more lots or more neighborhoods to an existing map, and I don't think they'll ever do that, to be honest. And it is quite intriguing that Hedda Lettuce was asking about Forgotten Hollow in particular, because Vampires is my favorite game pack at the moment. So yeah, I really love Vampires. Forgotten Hollow is quite an interesting world. It's very distinct from all the others that we have right now, and I kind of am okay with it being smaller. I guess it would have been nice to have like 2 more lots so that I could fit more vampires in there, but it's called Forgotten Hollow. What's the point of calling it Forgotten if it's like a big city? So yeah, I wouldn't have expected Forgotten Hollow to be made bigger, even though it would have been nice. And tying back into the city discussion from earlier, it would take away resources from making a new world if they were to actually add new lots to an existing world. So I could definitely understand that. But I do have a suggestion. If you also own Get Together, then I think Windenburg is also a pretty decent place for vampires to live, especially since there was an update from, it was like quite a few months ago now, where they did change it so that vampires can go out at night a little bit earlier than they can in any other world besides Forgotten Hollow, because with Windenburg, in case you didn't know, the daytime actually lasts a shorter time than it does in a lot of other worlds, because I guess it's to focus more on the clubs that are there and just the whole party atmosphere. So yeah, it can work for vampires as well, especially with all the old architecture there. I definitely think it works well for them. Moving on to the next question, Lily asks, hi, I've been playing The Sims for years and I love The Sims Castaway. Is there any way Castaway could be remade? And Grant says, not currently planned, but thanks for the kind words. And I actually have not played Castaway Stories. I'd love to play it, but unfortunately it's not available to buy on Origin anymore. So yeah, that's really too bad. If they ever did re-release Castaway Stories, then I'd love to do Throwback Thursday videos on it. But yeah, I guess it'd be kind of cool to see another Castaway like spin-off. Maybe not exactly the same, like not a straight up remaster of Castaway Stories, but something different where it features a different plot with different sims and that sort of thing. It's kind of funny, just before this video I was recording one where I was talking about what could this new Maxis game be that's in early development that's popped up thanks to a couple of job listings on EA.com. And yeah, what if it was that? No, I doubt it. It probably is The Sims 5, but still, kind of an interesting thought nonetheless. Moving on to the next question, would you guys ever go back to overhaul or change things from packs, or is that exclusive for the base game? And Grant says, depends. Bugs? Yes. Changing how the feature works? Tougher. And yeah, I can definitely understand that. Again, it is kind of like just the whole, what do we sacrifice in order to make this? And I can't really think of too many instances where they go back and change something from a DLC. Like, they did change in a free update that came out earlier this year, I believe, where it was earlier this year, because it was before Jungle Adventure released, and they updated the tents from Outdoor Retreats so that toddlers could finally use those tents, because they couldn't use them at all before, which made things kind of awkward if you wanted to rough it, but you had a toddler in Granite Falls. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't know, maybe they could do more stuff like that in the future, like say adding more icons for clubs and holiday traditions, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that. Next question from Juan Cruz. Will we ever have longer first and last names? The game only allows 14 characters for the first name and 14 for the last name. And SimGuru Grant says, probably not. We would have to change a ton of things. This one surprises me a little, because I'm not sure exactly why this would be so complicated. Would it just be the fact that character limits can, if changed, break certain parts of the game code or things like that? Am I on the right track? I have no idea. But I don't know. I haven't really run into any problems personally, I don't think, of having not enough space to fit in a Sim's name. Although I think in other cultures you do have much longer names in certain cases, so you might not be able to have your full name, which is kind of sad in my opinion. But I don't know, that's too bad that's not a possibility, or at least a very, very low chance of happening. Actually, I just thought right now, one really handy situation where it would be good to expand the character limits for names. What if you have a sim go into a marriage, but they end up hyphenating their name instead of adopting their spouse's last name? So it could be like, I don't know, Thompson Patrick or something. I don't know, just combining two names, because then when you try to combine two names like that, then yeah, you run out of space real fast. So it would be good for situations like that. And the next question actually happens to be related to romance. That was a completely unintentional segue there. But Shamrock Simmer asks, would it ever be possible to enhance the romance system? I feel like everything's too basic. It would be so cool if Sims got nervous before first dates, if they could have crushes, unreciprocated love, etc. Also, online and speed dating would be great. Game pack, maybe. And Grant says, I can't comment on potential future content! It is smiley face. I don't think the smiley face actually confirms or denies anything. I think he's just really tired of saying this same answer over and over again, but he's doing things to change it up so that he doesn't completely lose his mind over time. But those are pretty interesting suggestions that I haven't really seen, because I talk about the chemistry system from The Sims 2 a lot, and how much I would love, no pun intended, surprisingly, to have that back again in The Sims 4. But your Sims getting nervous before the first date? That would be really cool. I'd love to see that. Crushes? Aren't those in the game already? I think they are. It's just, like, before your Sims go steady? Isn't that how it works? Maybe I'm thinking of a different Sims game other than The Sims 4, but I'm certain at least one Sims game is like this. Oh wait, I'm thinking of romantic interests in The Sims 4. But I don't know, I thought there might have been a crush stage before that. But, no, I'm probably wrong about that. Huh, that's too bad. I haven't really done like a romance thing in a while. I haven't really started up one, just playing with existing marriages. But I'm surprised unreciprocated love isn't possible in the game either. I haven't really tried that, but yeah, I don't know. The social system is a little bit easier in the later games, in my opinion, so I think it is a little bit harder to have one-sided relationships of any kind in The Sims 4. I think even The Sims 3 was like that. And yes, we need online and speed dating. That would be so awesome. I do remember Grant expressing interest in bringing online dating back ever since City Living, so that's quite a while already. Jeez, just imagine being in his shoes, just wanting to make this feature so badly, but the right timing still hasn't come up, like, nearly 2 years later. Gosh, that must be painful, wow. But I think it will come back eventually. Well, if the next expansion pack were to be University, then that would be a really good fit. And moving on to the topic of roommates, Simmer asks, would you guys ever consider a roommate system? It'll be cool to have Sims that live in my house I don't have to control. And Grant says, something we'd love to figure out. It is difficult. And honestly, this isn't really a feature that I would care about because, well, here's the thing. You can have roommates, but just don't control them? I don't see why you need to make a whole roommate feature. It's just kind of like the whole debate about whether to have pets controllable or not in The Sims 4, because I think it would have been better just to have controllable pets like in The Sims 3, but for those who are so against the idea, just don't click on the pets, don't control them, and that's it. So I'm not sure what the difference is here with roommates. Why not just make roommates and just never control them and let them go about their lives? Like, they can take care of themselves most of the time anyways, but I mean, what difference would it make if they were controllable or not? Sims still make stupid mistakes whether you're currently in control of them or not. The only real benefit I can see here is just taking the work out of creating the roommate and create a sim and just having be a randomly generated townie becoming roommates with your sim. So yeah, I guess there's that, and then you could just have this roommate app on the computer, and then you can look up roommates to find, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't really want that feature that much. I'd rather just create my own sims, but I guess that's just me. Alright, so we got a couple more tweets here. Do you guys plan on keeping these extremely long news droughts for a long time? As much as I love the surprise season's reveal with such a short time for release, all these months with barely anything does get a bit much. And Grant says, we did a July update with the gallery, we did Caribbean content in August, we're doing multiple Twitch streams per month now. I don't think this is a drought. And, well, I disagree with him somewhat, and this actually ties into the last tweet that I want to go over, so I'll go through that one as well. And this one is from Wildly Miniature Sandwich. Hey, that's one of my favorite custom content creators over on Tumblr. But she says, some people say there's too much content being released. Others say it's not enough. You can't please everyone. I'm just happy with whatever you guys decide to give us whenever you decide, because you don't have to give us anything. Most games only have 1 or 2 DLCs, if that. And Grant responds saying, we get research and surveys that say too much and others that say not enough, and at this point, we are just confused. Alright, so yeah, like I said, I somewhat disagree with Grant, but not completely, because, well, it's not the same as previous droughts. Yes, there's a drought, but it's not the same way, because as he mentioned, there's all these live streams going on, so it's not necessarily a drought in terms of communication, because we asked for that and we're getting it. However, there's a very specific drought, and that's in terms of paid DLC, because I was just thinking about this earlier today. It's kind of crazy that from April 2018 to now, we've had 1 pack. Seasons. Yes, that is an expansion pack, and it's a pretty major one, but that's it. Usually we'd have at least 1 or 2 other packs squeezed in there somewhere, but no, it's just literally 1 expansion pack during this time span. So to me, that is pretty weird, and I would consider that a bit of a drought, because yeah, Seasons is great and all, but I think it's finally time to move on to something else. We can't just ride this season's hype train forever. We gotta get some other stuff too. There's still other things that I think the game needs, like University and Island Destination, like a tropical island, like this one right here. And, oh, what else? Farming, time travel, more cults, so many other things. I can go on and on for ages. That's why I have my Sims 4 wish list as a series. But, yeah, come on, it's time for more news. It will soon be time. What am I talking about? October 2nd. We're gonna have teases of more content, but yeah, I think the ideal situation would be to have a more consistent flow of stuff, because it's always this thing where we get a lot of content close together and then nothing for a few months, and then we get showered with content again, and then nothing. Rinse and repeat. And what's bad about that to me is that it kind of encourages an inconsistent play style for us, the players, as well, where it's just like more fun when there's all this content coming out at the same time, and then during those months of nothing, it's a little bit less encouraging to play the game because we have no idea what's happening next, and then it's just like, oh, okay then, well, I'll come back when more stuff is coming out. I just wish that we could be more consistently engaged through more consistent releases. Though the one upside here is that a lot of the most requested packs are out of the way, like pets and seasons, so thankfully it's not as bad as it was still when The Sims 4 launched, and then its first 1 or 2 years afterwards. We at least still have a lot of content presently to play around with. But yeah, if it was still the case where we still didn't have any pets or seasons, then I would be a lot more salty about this. And that wraps up another Sims info/thoughts video. Wow. This ended up being almost the length of a Let's Play episode. I'm really surprised. But feel free to let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on any of the topics that I discussed here. And be sure to leave a like or a comment or even subscribe, because it lets me know that you like my channel and my videos, and it helps you keep up to date more easily with the latest content from me. I do videos on The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!